Hello everybody, welcome to the artclasses.com. Today I am going to show you how to draw a foot. So let's see here. Today we're going to draw the foot from the front view and the side view. Actually it has both side view, from the inside, which is the toe side, and then from the outside, which is from the pinky toe side. All right, so basically you on the front view is going to be similar to foreshortening, right? So you have to be able to imagine the mesh in a three-dimensional form. That would help you understand how this arrangement would go, right? So this would be sort of like a how do I say it? If you can break it down into, if I draw it from the side view, it would be some sort of some rectangular shape, and then toes, right? And then this would be your heels, and then just imagine this 2D plane first, and then that would be your shin and your calves. But in reality, this rectangular shape is a three-dimensional shape. I could kind of start out with, that would be the top of your foot, right? And then you can easily break down the toes into two parts. I would focus on the toe and the rest of the fingers here, right? But make sure that you have the proportion kind of right, and then the distance would be, or the width and the height. You have to be very careful, like, don't make it too wide or too big. Proportion are really important, because if you get a proportion wrong, everything will look wrong. So there, right? And then when you turn it around, it will be in the front, which is, I'm going to use a different color. Would be here. Oops, it should be bigger on this side a little bit, and then here. But now you see it in the foreshortening ways, if you know what I mean. So if you turn the red off, then you're going to have toes, and then the rest of the form here, right? So you have to be able to visualize it at that stage, and it will kind of help you understand more, I guess. And or you can go into a little more organic, but it's still the same. You have these toes here, right? And then this curved line, because you have to imagine, like, this one going up, really the slope is really steep, and this one is kind of a little shallower. So steep because your toe is the highest. The bones from your big toes to the ankle is probably the biggest one there, and then you have this alignment, which is the contour line. So you don't know contour line is the line that, say you have some form, kind of go across the form and maybe go all the way around, and your form is curved or something, it's just gonna go. So basically, if you practice your contour line, you'll be able to imagine how the foot and the other part of the body could use a lot of help with your visualization. You can visualize this in 3D, but there's some contour lines. Say if you draw like an arm, right? You have slightly different look. So this will be going into that plane, and then it's going up again, and then it's going down. See what I mean? Same thing here, right? So apart from that, you understand contour line, this will help you with a lot of your problem that you can it will help you able to put the 2D plane or the 2D drawing line into the 3D three-dimensional space. So all this contour line would helping your brain thinking about how things goes. And so this is of all the pose, like the front view, the side view, and of the foot, the side view and the other side view are probably the easiest in comparison to the front view, because you don't have to deal with this foreshortening that much, but you still have to deal with the perspective. Alright guys, well, let's get started. Alright, so I guess we're gonna start with the front. I just start with the blank canvas. It's a square basically. You can use 2000 by 2000 pixel or 3000 by 3000 pixel. So I start off with creating the shape, the basic shape for the frontal foot. Then I start on the toes, and usually I just separate the big toe and the rest of the toe into groups. So you separate the big toes, you have like one little square sort of shape, and then the rest of the toe into one group. It will make it easier for you to kind of arrange those beginning shape. Then you have to imagine this contour line going across on top, and then the outline going on from the left side and the right side. So it's basically you have the height and you have the width and you have the depth. So it's all, and if you look at it from the side view, it looks like the toes and the foot itself, the back of the foot. So right there, those lines are contour lines that cross on to the part of the mask. So it shows you the side view that the first line actually, the second line actually is. If you do the contour line practice, it should be good for you when you trying to imagine or visualizing the shape, right? Then I draw the shin. Right there, and then you contour line. So I'm gonna scale this up a little bit. I forgot that I was making some sort of a video tutorial, so you should be able to see them all in the full scale. Right there, there we go. So it doesn't matter if you use pencil and paper or any iPad or any application, as long as you can draw the line onto the blank space, then you should be able to follow through with these. So it's just the same thing. The things like how to start and to finish drawing something. The different is just the tool. So these are just digital tool and tablet and all that. So once I have all this construction shape, usually I call them construction shape or sketch, then I start adding those little toes onto that group that I separated from the big toe earlier. Then I'm starting to refining the shape of the foot itself. And usually on the base of the toe, all the toes, you have a gap which is wide enough. They're not like close together, so it has like a space from the big toe to the index toes to the middle toes. So you have to leave it some sort of a tiny little gap. So because if you look at your foot, it has that gap, but then it's kind of tapered down and then it extended or it expanded again as it comes to the tip of your toes. So as I'm drawing this right now, so the tip of the toes are fatter than the middle and the base of the toes, and you have that skin part that connected, that's in between the space of these toes. So when you draw toes, you have to give it enough space for each toes. And now I'm drawing the pinky. And on the side of the pinky, you notice that if you look at it in the front view, on your foot, your pinky toes, it's a little bit kind of narrower than the width of the front part of the foot itself. And also on the toe side, the big toe side, that part of your ball of your foot is actually wider than as if you look at the toe from the front. It's kind of harder to explain. So now I'm drawing both sides of those tendons and bones, and the inside, the one that on the toe side is actually usually higher, and the one on the pinky toe side is usually slightly shorter. Alright, now we almost have the foot. So I start off with, you have to be able to imagine the geometry shape, and then kind of creating the organic line over it, and then starting to refine it with these finalized line. I can still go back in and refine it more. So now I'm drawing the toenails. You can keep tweaking it as you please, but make sure your proportions right. And then the rest of them are just going to be a little tiny curve here, a little tiny bend there, or a little thicker line and thinner line. So the thick and thin line, usually on the thin line, I prefer to put the thin line onto the top part of the body that doesn't have any weight. And the thick line, usually I draw it on the round side. If it's round, usually it has more mesh or more mass. Then if it's straight, usually it will be thinner line. And if you see this one here, your skin on the bottom of your toes will be flat since it touches the surface of the ground. So all your toes, the bottom of it will be flat, because when you press your skin onto some flat surface, it will create that shape because of the weight. So now is a contour. Here's a contour line. So the contour line, you can also use them as to help with any drawing that you might have. So now we got a front foot done, and if you're not clear on something, please post it down in the comment or go back and watch the video. Now I'm just going to draw on the side view of the foot and just going to rough it out. And the reason I turn on that translucent red line, because I want this foot to be about the same size as the foot on the front. So there we go. So usually when you see me draw this type of line, I can just draw this out without putting any form of geometry shape or cylinder. But in the back of my head or in my head, I already arranged those geometry shape in the head before I start drawing this line. So as I draw this two-dimensional line in my head, I'm seeing it in three-dimensional. So I would know if I look at, on the side of foot, am I seeing it from the top a little bit, or am I seeing it from the bottom a little bit? So you have to be able to identify those planes. So as I draw here, these are the plane from what I am drawing at this foot. And then if you looking at it from a different angle, you're gonna see more of the top view of the foot exposed. And you see I have like these three pieces of box. From the first one are from like all the toes, and then the second one next is for the front of the foot, and then the last one is the one that is representing the heel, so that you can have the heel connecting to your the bone structure, or your shin and your is it thigh, your muscle in the back, right? Your calves. So now we have like a rough shape that I started with. Then I'm making another layer and trying to make a little more line with precision, or a more accurate shape of the foot, so that people can tell that it is a foot. So I'm just drawing, and usually like I said, I'm using the thicker line width to put on a part that has more meat, or more mesh, or more mass, and the part that's kind of next to your bone, like your shin or the back of your foot, or some part of your forearm, those are gonna be thinner line, because they're just skin wrapping around your bone. But if there are some muscle or some shape, like on your foot pad, or on your palm, or on your shoulder, those are a big mass. So you're gonna have to kind of put a little more, in my opinion, just the thicker line. And the thin line, I just like, every time I see the straight line, I usually put the thin line on it. So now we have the foot from the toe side. And now I can still keep refining it until it looks the way I want it to look. Alright, so we're almost done on the toe side. Oh, then I'm gonna have to add maybe some nails and stuff. But at this point, I'm just kind of refining the drawing shape. Alright. And those toenails. Alright. Maybe a little, just not perfect, proportion might be a little bit off here and there, but I just like making a quick tutorial. And this is as pretty close, but not to the point that I really like it yet. I just like it's passable, just fine. So this is just a demo to show you how to draw your foot. Alright, so we're almost done. Make sure that your outline is readable. So readability should be your number one, because if a person don't know or can't tell what these are, then your drawing is not successful as you think it should be. And adding a little more detail right next to the toes and the foot pad. Alright guys, well, there's one more. So I'm just cleaning it up a little bit more, just to kind of make sure it looks alright. It looks okay for now. Could be better. So that was probably like 5-10 minutes of the foot. What I would suggest is, draw a lot of different angle of the foot. You can use your own foot, or you can stand in front of the mirror and then pose your foot in a different angle, or you can practice by looking at some of the good drawing of the foot, basically, just to get yourself into the 2D mentality first. And then once you get used to that, the best way is to just kind of start off start doing from the real things or live drawing, that would help you a lot. So now I am going to draw a foot from the side view, from the pinky side. Okay, so I start out with the same. I just leave that lighter line of the previous foot. Then I just draw it over because I want it to be the same size, and since I'm using Photoshop, then I'm going to take advantage of it. But for the purpose of practicing, you should draw like a geometry shape, like I showed you earlier. So once you start with a geometry shape with those boxes, and then you can construct those boxes together and start roughing out this sketchy line that I did here. Once you have the form and the sketchy line, and then you can start applying more detail, or the detail in my terms usually I means making the shape a little more accurate, and like what I'm doing with the fingers there, with the pinky, I'm trying to make the line more accurate. Not necessarily that I'm adding stuff, I'm just like fixing the form basically. And then the middle finger. And this tutorial might not be like perfect, but it will get you started to doing something probably on the right track. All right. But then it has to be, I just realized it sort of have to be in a little perspective. This one I'm drawing from the point of view that maybe I'm looking a little upward from the top, so you can see the top of the foot a little more. But if you look at a side view, really, then you might only see overlapping. You might see a lot more overlapping in between, between the toes. But now I'm angling up a little bit. I'm just going to erase some of the line. And then you have these, structural bones that connected to your toes. So it's the bone of your foot. You notice, right, when you twinkling or you moving your toes around, and you would see those bones kind of moving up and down according to how the tendons were pulled. And now the heels and the Achilles heels. So there we go. That's another foot right there. I will always find something to fix as I draw more. And what I'm seeing now is basically the foot need to be a little more flat on the side. But I'm recording the voice now, so I can't really I can't going in and fix it. Not sure, I can't remember if I fixed it. Yeah, I kind of fixed it right there. Sometimes you forgot what you did. Because usually I work like 10, 12 hours a day, and at night I'll just spend 15 minutes or half an hour to kind of recording the video, and sometimes I have a few day gaps, so I kind of forgot like what I did, or on the a few days prior to that. So now, yeah, the foot is a little more flat, but I think the fatness of the forefoot, it's still a little too fat, and then I think there should be a little more overlapping. Yeah, I haven't drawn a foot in a long time. Usually when you're doing a character design, or when you're doing environmental design, then you tend to focus more on the bigger pictures rather than going in and try to get the small things. This by no means this is not a small thing. I'm sorry. You tend to forget the little things. You kind of tend to overlook the small detail, right? And I'm fixing the pinky toes. But if you are a 3D modeler or a character modeler or a character designer, then these are the things that you should know by heart accurately, right? Whether you're doing stylized or whether you're doing realistic. But most of the time, a lot of people that work in 3D modeling or character design in game industry or in the film, um, you will always have to rely on your reference. Reference is your friend. Um, so it's kind of a really misconception when some people um, saying stuff like, "Hey, I just I didn't use any reference and I draw that." I mean, that's cool. That's good for you. But um, the way we are working in the industry, the more reference you have, the better it is. You can ask anybody who works in the video games or work in film. Um, we always have to use reference, whether um, you're pretty good at your anatomy knowledge and you can draw it from scratch without looking at anything by heart. But reference or any anatomical sculpture or something always helps you. It's kind of like a reference point, so you can't go wrong having something to look uh, on the side, if you know what I mean. So there, I think I missed something on the screen here. Yeah, a lot of us using reference. Even like when you're doing the lamp pose, you always have to look at the reference. When you look at the toes, you look at the fingers. So there. We got front view, side view from the toes, and then side view from the pinky. And here we go. I think this is another trial that I did afterward because I want to fix the foot. It doesn't look quite how I want it to be. So now I'm kind of fixing it a little bit more. But I think I messed it up. And then it should be a little more overlapping, like I said. And the foot could be flatter. Because the arc of your foot usually are on the inside. They're on the toe, the big toe side. So now I'm just going to erasing these, and I'm just going to do a bunch of overlapping. Fixing the form, and usually forms and correct shape, correct proportion are usually the most important thing when you start drawing. So anyways, hopefully they'll get you started or something. This is not perfect by any means. Have a great day, guys. Thank you for watching. Oh, and I almost forgot. If you have any question, comment, or suggestion of what kind of video you want to see, I'm putting up an iPad tutorial video soon. I have those videos for years, but I never uploaded it. I have iPad Pro for a while. And if you want to know more about digital painting, I would recommend go to the link down below. There's a Gumroad link, there's a QBrush link, and then and then I don't know what some of the link, but Gumroad, QBrush, you can get the ultimate painting, ultimate digital painting for beginners tutorial, and there's volume 1 and volume 2. Each one of them are like more than 15 hours long. Yeah, I guess. And then I have, I'm gonna try to put more tutorial as I could. I'm gonna try to find time and do more. So thank you again for watching, and thank you for you guys. Some of you guys have been subscribing for over, I don't know, since 2004, 2005. This year I'm going to try to do more and upload more videos. So just let me know what kind of tutorial you want. I'm going to try to do my best because my job is pretty demanding. So yeah, I'm working with the Mark Studio in Bangkok, and we're doing a bunch of film for the Chinese company and DreamWorks and all those kind of stuff. So, all right, have a good day. I'll see you soon.